Great defeaters, new and old, welcome to a special edition of the breakdown with your host, BaseDaKID, Tony, the Pugilist Boy. We are the children of the game. Now, listen, apologies, anyone who locked in at 6 o'clock, had some issues to kind of sort out. We've managed to get through all of that right now. So yeah, we're gonna try and keep it to about 45 minutes, maybe an hour max, but we will get off in time for the main event of the Sky Sports card. Um, Quick rules of engagement, as is with every time we manage to get a guest on. It's all about obviously respecting them. If you've got questions to ask, because we're going to be focused directly on the guest and what they're doing and what they're saying. Um, any nominations of either super chats or members, the color changes in the comments, and we will be notified that you've left a comment or a question. We will display those. All right. But yeah, otherwise, just keep everything respectful. You can criticize if you need to criticize, but yeah, try and do everything as professionally and respectfully as possible. Tony, how's your weekend going thus far?
Yeah, pretty good. As you know, my team won fairly emphatically this morning or this early afternoon. So I'm looking forward to the boxing. It is on in the background, so I do realize that I can see what's going on live, and of course I'll be keeping my eye out to see if anything spectacular does happen. But of course, full attention is I'm very excited to be seeing our special guest today. So yeah, let's get it on.
All right. No problem. Okay, so interact with the chat real briefly. I'm gonna just head backstage and make sure everything's all good to go.
Yes, so indeed, ladies and gentlemen, big up to those of you who are in the house. Untraceable, respect and manners to yourself. Jonah 31, Jimbo Jones, Hot Pies. Thank you guys for joining us this evening for what I'm hoping will be a very open and frank conversation with a former world champion who's now on a comeback trail. Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing how Jamel Herring's career looks to be panning out going forward, what he's looking for. But yeah, if you've got any questions early doors, do feel free to put them into the chat. As Base has explained, we will be using the usual sort of code of conduct for our members. But obviously, if the room doesn't get populated hugely, then there might be some opportunity for some of you other guys to get some questioning. Jimbo, no London Championships, Tony. No, none for me today. I am suffering actually. I've had a tooth removal done in a week, so I'm actually suffering as a result of that. Just healing up at the moment. Hopefully, I'll be back up and running in the next few days, because I'm looking forward to attending Buatsi versus Aziz in the coming weeks. And if you know me, I'm a one to get out on the road, and I'll be looking to go on holiday to Tunisia next month during the half-term break. Naeem, welcome to the chat. Hope you are well, sir or miss. And yeah, Zach Chelly or Cullen. That's a crossroads fight for both fighters. Very close one, I think. I'm going to go for Cullen by decision. So currently we've got Katie Artinstall in the ring. It's been a interesting couple of weeks, obviously headlined by the fact that the Riyadh season, the people behind that, His Excellency Turki Ali Sheikh and his compadres have been very big in the news recently, with announcing big cards coming up. The Undisputed. With the announcement of Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou, and the big fights on the undercards of both of those fights. They look like very good cards. Knockdown just happened for Katie Artinstall in round 1. Straight left down the pipe. The old 1-2 southpaw against the orthodox fighter. Dropped her opponent straight back onto her bum, but she got up. She was okay, and she's back out now for round 2. Naeem has asked me, am I watching the Kenshiro Taraji? It will be happening in the morning. Unfortunately, I'll be at school doing what I normally do with my day job. But no doubt I will be getting a hold of that at some point in time in the evening on my return home. And hopefully we'll be able to have a little talk about it on the breakdown show on Tuesday evening, at which point we'll be also breaking down this card here, which is on Sky Sports Arena. Jimbo says, I've seen a big shift lately with AJ versus Ngannou. People acting like it's okay if AJ loses to Ngannou. What will you make of AJ if he gets knocked out? I think he's a joke if he does. I think that's a bit harsh, bearing in mind that he knocked down the lineal champion of the world, Tyson Fury. So if Ngannou should get closer to AJ and should somehow produce a knockout against AJ, it will kind of cement a lot of people's opinions of AJ. I know there are lots of naysayers out there when it comes to AJ who think that he's lost, a lot of his spite and his bite, his ambition is being, on the back burner when it comes to getting involved with his opponents, from originally losing to Andy Ruiz. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Welcome to the chat, Philip. Philip, we're planning about 45 minutes. So we're hoping to be out of here before the Michaela Mayer-Natasha Jonas match starts. Michaela is now walking into the arena. She's just being interviewed as she's walking into the arena. So there's going to be easily an hour before she gets ready and ready in a position to start her ring walk. So yeah, she's quite a way off that. In fact, thinking of timing wise, we're 8:30 now. So there's a good hour and a half at least. Seeing as Jamel's coming on, what do I make of Jermaine Ortiz versus Teofimo Lopez? Good fight. Anyone who knows me well will understand that I've been a big fan of Teofimo Lopez. I met him back in 2019, I think it was, in New York. Really nice guy. Got an opportunity to have a quick chat with him. But I've also seen him live fighting. Do think he's a very accomplished boxer puncher. Obviously, he went on to become undisputed lightweight champion, a title he relinquished when he lost to George Kambosos, but has since rekindled his career with significant wins at light welterweight. So 2-division champion, former undisputed. Teofimo Lopez definitely going to be looking to cement his position in his fight against Jermaine Ortiz and try to, if he can, secure the bag. I know he's been calling out Devin Haney, so that would be a great fight if they could make that. Do I think he has a chance against Haney? Absolutely. Teofimo Lopez is a very good boxer. Very good boxer. He has certainly got better skills than Regis Prograis, in my opinion. Prograis really got made to look quite pedestrian in terms of footwork, hand speed, etc. against Haney. But I think with Teofimo, he can more than match the footwork. He can match the scorecard. Um, why is he scared? I'm not sure who you're referring to. He's a much better athlete than Prograis for sure. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think Teofimo Lopez is scared of anybody. I think one of the problems is his dad. His dad's kind of been the soundboard for him and has kind of talked his son into a lot of situations. Yeah, it's just a matter of time. Teofimo doesn't have the discipline. I mean, it's interesting you saying that because I know him from being a very dedicated, disciplined boxer. Obviously, he has now elevated himself to that plateau where he's made a lot of money. Welcome to the chat, Bautista Diablo. Yeah, he has elevated himself quite highly into a really good position where, he's making big money. And that does mean that, there's a lot more pressure on him now to deliver. There's a lot more riding on every fight now. And so, it might appear that he's undisciplined, but, he's now, taken his stock to such a high pedestal that maybe, things are easier than when you're on the up. When you're on the up, you have to fight for everything tooth and nail. When you get to the top and you actually start getting the riches, you can maybe afford to cut some corners, maybe, but they have to be cut sensibly. There's no fighter who hasn't done that. There's no fighter who hasn't done that. You can get better resources. You can get better training partners. You can get better sparring. The old Rocky tale coming out of the streets of Philadelphia, finding himself in a nice place where he can, live the nice life and set his family up for the good life, and that in turn, can have an effect. Welcome to the chat, Raymond Hales. Mayor for the win, Tony. Yeah, I mean, I think she's got a very good chance of winning. I think it's a kind of a 50-50 because I'm not really sure how much Natasha Jonas has got in the tank. I think she can potentially bully Michaela Mayer a bit in this particular fight, and therefore, come out with the victory. But it's very much a nip and tuck kind of situation where I wouldn't want to say that it's done and dusted as far as Mayer is concerned or as far as Natasha Jonas is concerned. Danny, welcome to the chat. Hagler was always disciplined. Listen, Marvin Hagler, I have the ultimate respect for Marvin Hagler. Rest in peace, the great man, marvelous. He was undoubtedly one of my heroes growing up. And, to see that he never deviated from his strict regime of training hard, there's no way that today's boxers could learn a very valuable lesson at the way Marvin Hagler dedicated himself to the sport of boxing and the way he trained for every single opponent without any corners being cut. So yeah, Danny, I do appreciate what you're saying there about the dedication required to be in the sport of boxing. But as I said, it can sometimes, we're in a different generation now, where the money is so big for some of these guys that, you can see that they do live the life when they get the riches. You know, they go from, you know, the streets to, you know, lovely penthouses and mansions and so on and so forth, where life is different in that, you know, in the two different areas. You know, I see it myself. I grew up in and around the streets, in the ends, as they say, and I saw lots of kids going to sports, specifically soccer or football, as we call it here. And I saw kids elevate themselves and their families out of squalor through their efforts in sport. And when they get to that pinnacle, where they get to that place where they can take their families out, they change. You know, the things that they did when they were on the up, they disappear, some of those things. Jimbo says that picture of Hagler running in the snow wearing snow boots is a classic. And he has that on his wall. I mean, listen, I wear with great pride any T-shirt that I could pick up when I was younger with Hagler on it. I love it. I mean, you know, my absolute pinnacle fighter is Muhammad Ali. So I've got you know, a wide range of Ali clothing, memorabilia, etc. But Hagler definitely was up there.
Right.
Welcome to the chat, Ross Mason. I'll
Big
just
up to
finish this
Ross.
one, Base. Mick
Go for
Hagler
it.
was the first fight he ever saw. So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Base is in the house. Jamel is here.
Bring him in, Tony. Bring him in. You've been doing good so far.
Thank you very much. So,
Mr. Jamel Herring, how you doing, sir?
What's going on?
All good, all good. Pleasure to have you on. Obviously, apologies for any delays to everyone with all of the time differences. You know how it is.
My apologies as well for any delays of trying to get on here.
No worries, man. No worries. So look, I mean, we want to keep it like real informal, but we're real respectful of your time, so we won't take up too much of it. Um, but I guess how I'd like to start this off is just to kind of find out a bit about your start. Like, I mean, I guess sort of how you grew up, and then ultimately how that all transitioned into your service in the Marines, and how that all translated into your boxing career. If you want to give us a little brief summary of that.
Long Island, New York is where I'm from, right outside the city. Yeah, spent most of my teen years, childhood years, and you know, what I'm saying, New York until about '03 when I enlisted into the Marine Corps. Right at all the events happening in 9/11, and especially in close to home in New York. But that's what I mean. The Marine Corps is basically where I got most of my bulk of my amateur career as a fighter. You know, go in terms of boxing and the boxing landscape. And 2012, when I went to London, I actually loved it there. That's when I pretty much I was pretty much no, I was actually the only United States Marine to serve in the Olympics representing the Marine Corps. So that was a big thing. But I always told myself that after the London Games, I would always want to come back to the UK as a professional at least and compete again.
excellent.
So, how come it's taken so long to get you over it? Like, what's been
Uh,
happening?
hey, you gotta ask guys like Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren. And like I said, I just spoke to Eddie last weekend about it. You know, I told him, I said, listen, I ain't really care who I fought. I said, just get me back to the UK. You know, he has close ties with my promoter, Lou DeBella. You know, Lou's been trying to reach out to both him and Frank Warren as well in terms of making something happen in the UK. So it's not on me. It's not on me.
I hear that. Tony, go for it, and then I'll follow after you.
Okay, so Jamel, nice to meet you. And you know, I'm a big fan of your
Thank you.
career. I did put together a couple of montages of stuff for the people to see some of your work prior. So forgive me for over
No, it's good.
laying you, but I'm gonna chat to you in the background from here
I need
while
that one.
people
I
can
need
see
that. I
some.
need that one back. I need that one when you get a chance. That's a good pick. That was a
That was
good
a
one.
We'll
good
send it
picture,
to you.
wasn't
Don't
it?
worry.
Yeah, so you can see I've done some homework. But yeah, I mean, you know, you've had a fantastic career to date. Um, you know, you fought one of the UK sort of stalwarts of boxing. As you can see, I've got highlight of you there, fighting against Carl Frampton, a fight in which you did really well, and you stopped Carl and effectively ended his career. You know, your career in the amateurs was very celebrated. You know, won national championships in the US, getting through to the Olympics, and then obviously turning professional and becoming the world champion at super featherweight, with some very impressive performances, if I may say so myself. I'm a student of boxing. I'm a boxing coach myself. Tell me a little bit about your amateur career, because you did come late to boxing in terms of amateurs. If I'm not mistaken, you started at the age of 15.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, I started at the ripe old age of 7, and many fighters will have started in you know, very younger years and excelled. But you took to it kind of late, I think, at 15, and obviously rose very quickly through the amateurs. Tell me a bit about your time in the amateurs. I know, for instance, that you actually boxed Danny Jacobs in one of your first fights, right?
Yeah, that was actually my first loss when I got to that. It was a tournament in New York City. It was actually the finals, and he had beat me in the finals. But that was actually my first loss as an amateur. But I had to pretty much learn. I had to learn quick. Even having my time in the service, I had to kind of like play catch up, because I wasn't always able to be a part of boxing. So I always had to. I actually had to learn quickly and play catch up a lot of times to get where I was getting to. Like I actually had under 100 amateur fights when I made the Olympic team, whereas guys like Rashid Warren, who I'm still close with, he had about 300 fights or something like that, something around that range. So I had to basically learn quickly to become and really become a student of the game to get to where I wanted to be at in terms of boxing.
Cool. And then, as I said, you know, you came to London in 2012 for the Olympics. What was your experience in London? That's my hometown. I was at those games watching it.
I loved it because it reminded me so much of New York. That's, to me, it reminded me of New York, especially like getting around the city and everything. It reminded me of home. So I always said I was wanting to come back, but I had a great time. I actually had fun. I actually had I enjoyed the experience overall. I can't say I really had any real complaints about London, the city of London. So, and then when I seen how the atmosphere was for the Olympics, and just watching over the years how the UK fan base as a whole, reacts to boxing matches, I always said to myself that I always want to come back to the UK by any means possible, especially after my good friend Errol Spence, when he fought the great Kell Brook. He fought Kell Brook, and I was like, man, that was a crazy atmosphere. And I think him and Dominic Brazil probably my only two teammates from that team that actually competed in the UK. Dominic fought Anthony Joshua around that time period as well. So I would say like I had to get back to the UK myself.
Well, if you ever do, sir, do knock us up. Base and I would love the pleasure of escorting you around and showing you some of the sights of London. Did you get can you remember any of the gyms that you got to, or where you were trained, where you were based?
I know I was out. I know when I did first arrive to the UK, we used Amir Khan's gym for a couple of weeks or so. But for the most part, I think around the time when it got close to the games, we just stayed close in the area to the Olympic Village and so. But I know, without a doubt, we use Amir Khan's gym for about a good week or so to get in preparation before the games had started.
So interesting that, because you sparred with Amir Khan later on when Khan was preparing, working with Bomac, right?
Yes.
So you have quite a history with Amir. I mean, is that a friendship that you guys?
Oh yeah, Amir is a good friend of mine. He's always been supportive throughout the years, even before he came over to Bomac. It mainly started when I went to the UK. Matter of fact, when we used his gym, that's when the friendship really started. So again, like I said, Amir, he's a good guy. I love what he's doing. I love what he's doing, what he did at the time in his career, in his own illustrious career, and
Hmm.
we just stayed in communication throughout the years.
Excellent. That's great stuff. That's great stuff.
Goes for my good friend. 2011 in November of 2011, I fought Josh Taylor. Me and Josh Taylor fought over there at in the UK. In the UK, we fought in the UK at the Olympic test event.
Okay.
It should be. I know it's somewhere on YouTube. I think I had posted like years ago, like years ago. But, Josh had beat me by like 3 points, but me and Josh, we stayed same thing. We stayed in contact over the years. When he comes to the States and he fights on top cards, we always catch up and talk. And again, I admire what I seen with Josh Taylor did, because let's be honest, Josh Taylor wasn't the name that stuck out in the 2012. He wasn't like, he was pretty much still on his up and coming in his own right. So Josh Taylor had to basically grind and get everything the hard way as well. But we posted last time we spoke when he fought Teofimo Lopez, because I had commented that card. So we spoke. Him and his wife invited myself and my wife Jennifer to the UK and come hang out a few times as well. So same goes with Carl Frampton. Carl Frampton and his wife invited me out to Belfast, Ireland, to catch up and things like that. So I always kept a good relationship with guys, even if I competed with them or came across them, because I believe like boxing is a small fraternity. So it's always good to create and mend friendships.
That's absolutely right. I will 100% endorse what you just said. I mean, even as a former amateur boxer myself and a current amateur boxing coach, I've forged some great friendships both here in the United Kingdom and in the States. I traveled the state extensively to see boxers, from going to the Kronk Gym in Detroit, going out to LA, going to Fifth Street in Miami, etc. So yeah, it is a great community once you get amongst the boxing fraternity and you meet and you greet people. Is there anyone over here, that is currently taking your eye in terms of up and comers? I know we have a huge crop of good boxers.
There's too many. Like I always, especially with me commentating now, I'm always keeping eyes out on everyone, especially the younger generation. That's because I love watching undercards on big cards. Even the undercard today's event with I've known Natasha since the 2012 games. I've known, so it was hard. It was even as an American, it was hard for me to pick a side or choose a side with this fight, because Natasha is a good friend of mine. Michaela, we've been on many teams together in terms of the amateur pedigree. Michaela and I, we shared the same nutritionist. In fact, I'm the one who I introduced my nutritionist to her when she was having issues making weight at 130 pounds or so. So I always kept keep close ties with everyone that I either came with in boxing, or like you both pointed out, the newer generation that's coming up now. So it's too many. Like I respect what the UK has been doing, especially with boxing, especially my weight division now and the super featherweight division. I feel like there's great things going on. Joe Cordina, Jordan Gill came up with a great performance against another one of my friends, Mick Collin. I'm friends with his brother Jamie Collin as well. Jamie has helped me in my career, especially in terms of getting the Frampton fight. Jamie Collin played a part in that. I've called out. I really like what Lee Wood's been doing, because, like, again, he always he can be down in a fight and he comes back and he closes out the show. So I've called him out the fight over there in the UK. I've called out Josh Warrington, especially since we have a common opponent, which is Carl Frampton. So again, I always keep close to where everything that's moving and going, like, that's big, especially around my division. But again, it's you hear my voice. It's never any like animosity. I just like competing. I'm just a competitor. And I have no issue leaving the States to compete wherever I'm needed at. So that's what I told Eddie Hearn. I said, listen, I don't really have any grudges with anyone. I just want to just compete against one of your guys in the UK. Whether it's Joe Cordina had once he entertained fighting me before I came back this past year. So I really was motivated to get back in the gym for that fight. Then I seen what Lee Wood and Warrington did in their first matchup. That I was actually in the gym with my trainer Wayne McCullough, and he had the TV on like pretty much in the background, and we was in the ring. And we was in the ring working out, but we was watching the fights at the same time, and I was like, yeah, I gotta get one of those guys. I gotta fight one of those guys in the future, something, because it's crazy. It was a crazy atmosphere. Then I seen also weeks later before I had fought with Mick Conlon and Jordan Gill, and I was like, that's another matchup that I would like to have as well. But it's never for me.
Yeah.
You guys never see me disrespect anybody on social media like that unless I'm like provoked or anything like that. But for the most part, I'm just I believe it's a sport. Of course, it's a combat sport, but again, more importantly, it's still a sport. So I'm all about sportsmanship, and I don't have any issues with anyone. I just want to fight.
Yeah, I mean, you're a very respectful guy. Sorry, Base. I just want to finish this last question before I let Base come in with his question. So you mentioned in there that you've obviously commentated on some stuff, and I'm very aware that look.
Yeah.
The very smart, if I may say so, Jamel, you're a very smart fella. You know how to put together an outfit, and that's I recognize that because
I have to give that credit to my wife, Jennifer. Like, I'm like, I'll put something in the class. I'm like, hey, should I wear this? I should wear this. Like, put that together with that. But like, I'm still getting the hang of it myself, but I had to give credit to Jennifer.
Okay, well, I would say, sir, she's doing a very good job. So if you could tell your wife, I'm a tailor here in London, which is known as one of the fashion capitals of the world. Yes. I'm very good at putting out together outfits. So when you come to London, I'd love the opportunity to put you in one of my own suits.
I love about London also. I love the class. I was like,
there you go. There you go.
That's just like, it's just me. Like, they always said Marines are gentlemen. So like, I just love just being in that class.
Yeah.
And again, when you guys get a chance at the end, just take this clip and I'll send it to Jennifer so it'll make her day. I'm telling you. But again, yeah, I mean, I enjoy playing behind the table and in the ring, and I enjoy it. And as a matter of fact, I enjoy, the great feedback I get from you guys over there from Sky Sports, watching in when I do get to commentate. So that always makes my day, and I appreciate you guys because again, at least for me, I'm the type of commentator that I appreciate the people and their feedback because it's things that I might pick up that I may not have seen before. And I was like, what? That's a good plot. That's a good point they made right there. I should try to emphasize that when next time I call a fight. So again, thank you guys for out there for because you guys actually motivate the guys at Top Rank to continue bringing me back for commentating after we get great feedback. I mean, Christina Pancha, she loves having me with her. And I always tell her, listen, they need to just add me on more. But I'll be honest with you guys, Christina does not want me fighting still. She'd rather have me sit next to her, just commentate. Like, hey, if I'm not commentating, I'm fighting. So like, it's not on me. I have to stay busy. So I just love to stay busy. So if I'm not in the gym, I don't mind just sitting behind the commentator table and calling great action.
Excellent.
I hear that. Funny enough, when you were saying about obviously, you're very respectful. I've never seen you like trash talk any other fighters. You just, as you said, it's all about respect. It's all about that camaraderie. But you just want to challenge yourself against the best. I do remember a tweet that you put out about, I think it was maybe a week and a half ago, where it might have been from a troll. And you said something about some kind of significant size mud hole in.
You gotta understand, it was like 9, it was like 8 o'clock in the morning this time. I'm just getting up, like nobody wants to see nonsense. I'm just like, again, if you guys ever notice when I always refer to boxing family when I tweet, that means I want to engage with you guys and everyone else is watching, because you don't see a lot of athletes, period, of any sport that tries to engage with the people. So for me, I always and even when I engage and people may have different opinions, I never get ugly about it because I respect your opinion. Your opinion is your opinion, mine is mine. When people try to just butt in and say off the wall, make up these crazy narratives, and then try to tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about, and I've been in this sport for over 20 years now, that kind of like it just rubs me wrong. So like, and we all know that this one particular individual, he's always been known as a troll anyway. So it's not like he has credibility in the sport of boxing whatsoever. And then the next thing you know, that oh, we want to do an exhibition match. I'm like, for what? Like, what do I get out of this? Like, like what am I like what do I like? Again, I'm trying to fight guys in the UK, not down the block. Like, it makes no sense. So that's like, I say what I say, then you guys see, I just leave it alone and I let Twitter handle it. That's how I look at it. I let the people handle it afterwards.
No, I hear that. So, with regards to obviously that, so the big marine background. Now, I'm not gonna say that I've seen your entire career, but I've seen a lot of it, and
Okay.
I've seen you in between. I've seen you doing your commentary. One thing that I've noticed about you is you always look very disciplined. You seem to have a very strong mindset, and you're always in shape. Was a part of, like, I guess, your time within the Marine Corps very significant to your professionalism and always kind of being ready, so to speak?
I mean, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, this is who I am 24/7. You know, it's all about discipline. And you guys, Tony, you guys know they say boxing is more discipline than physical, more mental than physical. So it's all about how you carry yourself, how you move in there. Again, I've been in some rough fights. You guys seen it. I've been in there with Shakur Stevenson. Shakur was a phenomenal fighter. That was a rough fight for me, but I kept pushing forward, and I was just having a strong mindset. You know, cut up and everything. I just kept pushing forward, even in my hardest battles. So a lot of it does come from that Marine Corps background. Even now, even they'll sit there and say, "Oh, why you want to come back, champ?" Like, you guys, you see my last fight. Last fight. Me personally, I was expecting to go rounds. The kid he was an undefeated fighter, a younger fighter, of course, and you know, the kid didn't know how to lose. Simple as that. But you know, Nick Molina. That fight ended. He went home with a fractured. He went home with a fractured rib and a broken nose. So that should tell you right there that I don't really worry too much about what others say. I just move to beat my own drum.
I hear that. So, when with regards to actually like starting your career, what was it like for you in the early days? You know, obviously before the world title and I guess maybe the big show on Top Rank. How was it sort of in those first couple years?
It was rough, man. It was rough because even being labeled as United States Olympian, I didn't get that. Like, I didn't really get that Olympian like luxury. I still had to. I basically got maybe a small head start in front of others that may have just turned pro at the time, but it wasn't a big leap. So I had to basically grind and like really go out there and get it. Even suffering 2 losses before I even became a world champion, I had to continue picking myself back up and going out there and get it. And I never, and you guys see, I never made any excuses for any of my setbacks. I just take them as lessons and just continue moving forward.
What was your, I don't want to say your biggest profile, but to you, what was your most pivotal fight? Like the fight that said to you either I belong, or I'm going to achieve, or I've made it, whatever you think it might be. What was your most significant fight in your opinion?
I think my most significant fight was really when I fought Masaki Ito for the world championship, of course. Because that basically showed, in the way the fight looked and how it played out, that basically showed that I have class and caliber to compete the best of them. But the fight that really stands out to me, of course, is probably the Carl Frampton fight, mainly because of everything that Frampton has accomplished in his own career. I mean, think about it. 2016, Carl Frampton was Fighter of the Year. 2016 for Jamel Herring, I had suffered my first career loss. So it was completely two opposite paths. But I always give thanks to Carl Frampton for even acknowledging or accepting that matchup. You know what I mean? Because Carl could have did anything he wanted to at that point in time in his career. He could have retired before that fight. But he gave me the privilege to share the ring with him and to go out there and the way I wanted in that fashion. That really was pretty much another highlight in my career.
No, that was definitely one of your career best performances. I remember that fight because I predicted that you was going to win that, but I saw a lot of people online, and I guess the punditry was like, "No, this is Carl's fight. Like,
Yeah.
he's gonna take it. He's at home." And
I
then,
mean, you got to think about it. It was supposed to go in Belfast. It was literally supposed to go in Belfast, and then the whole pandemic came about. Then Frank Warren, he actually wanted to move to London, and I was perfectly fine with that as well. Then that had got because of the restriction rules and everything. Then it got moved to Dubai, but the the card was called Legacy. It wasn't my legacy they was talking about. It was about Carl Frampton's legacy. You know what I mean? So everything was in Carl Frampton's favor. Like everything. Like of course, the he had the name. He had the whole entire country behind him. So everything was for Carl Frampton. But again, that shows you that's what I mean by that Marine Corps mentality. That didn't bother me. All I cared about was just getting in the ring. I didn't care about. I mean, it could have been in Belfast. It could have been in London. Would have in a football stadium, and I still would have performed the way I performed, in my opinion. So I was just mentally prepared and mentally tough for whatever was thrown at me when it came to Carl Frampton, and we seen how it played out.
So when you went into that fight, did anything say to you, all right, obviously I know that I'm better than him, or I think I'm better than him, but I can't chance and leave it to the judges. Like I've got to take it out of their hands. Did you have that mindset, or was you just like my skills will show through?
Of course. If it wasn't gonna go to if it's gonna go to the cards, I had to make sure that I dominated and made every round clear. But more importantly, it was like we know who's basically they're rooting for in this card. So I have to go out here and really show. Really have to take it to a different level, and that's how it played out.
Fair dues. Okay, so if we look at obviously towards like the here and the now a bit closer. So obviously you had the brilliant fight with Shakur. He was just he bested you on the night. So young, so sharp, and again, like you said, kept pushing forward, made no excuses, class act all the way through the build up as well. Let me ask you this: in the build up to that, even though I guess it was just selling the fight, did you feel any like real disrespect by Shakur?
No, that actually, I thought it was selling the fight first, but now he'll tell you that was real. Everything on his side was real. Like that's what kind of threw me off, because like I said, I've known him for years, like years, long before we even mentioned my fighting each other. So like I was kind of thrown off because of it. But we actually got past it. Even now, like we see each other now, we'll speak. I have his number. I'll text him, see how he's doing, or send him him in his inbox, whatever. But we got better communication now. But again, it was just a rough time, because like you guys said it, I'm not that type of fighter. I don't do all the back and forth. I'd rather just do the talking in the ring. But I get it. If you got to settle a fight at times, you got to start barking back at times, but never make it to where it gets too personal or ugly. That's how I am. If I don't mind going back and forth, but I don't want to make it too personal where there's no coming back from that. So again, that was real. That was real. But again, I credit everything to him. He did what he had to do. He took my title. And again, even now, I'm still rooting for him. I know he's had a rough time as of recent with his last performance, or whatever. But again, let me make this clear. Before he fought me, when he fought Ndongo, what was it? Not Ndongo. He fought.
Wasn't it Nakatila?
Yeah, Nakatila. Yeah, Nakatila. He had like a similar performance that people were trying to say about his last fight, where it wasn't the best performance. No one didn't, and they kind of questioned him. And then he fought me, and it was a complete 180. So, in my opinion, I think that he might have a similar situation now, where he didn't have his best performance his last fight, as they say, even though he won the fight. But I think he's going to come back even stronger with something to prove. So I'm telling everybody now, I'm going to be the first one to tell people, hey, be on alert and be aware of his next performance.
So all the 135's got to watch out for him in his next one. He's going to come for that get back, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's more of a get back for the people. You know what I mean? Like because it's hard to beat him as it is, but we understand in professional boxing, it's all about how you look and selling tickets and putting people in the seats.
So as a coach, I love seeing coaches do work, Jamel, and obviously you've had the privilege working with some really good coaches in your time. Can you tell us a little bit about the way different coaches have brought the best out of you? I'm specifically interested in, of course, in Brian McIntyre, McIntyre, because you work extensively with him, and obviously he's responsible for the current pound for pound number one, Terence Crawford.
Oh, that was a great camp. I mean, let me just say, like, I think I learned from every trainer that I've been with, and that's part of growth as a fighter. Mike Stafford, God rest his soul. Mike Stafford was my first professional trainer. He was actually part of the Olympic team as well. So I've learned a lot from him in terms of pacing. Pacing from the amateurs to the pros, in terms of sitting down on your punches. Bomac, phenomenal trainer. Bomac basically taught me, him and Terrence basically told me what it is to have that championship mindset. That's what they're great. They're great in terms of teaching you the mindset of the game, because they knew I can fight. They knew before I came up that I knew how to fight. That wasn't an issue. When you got also Red Spikes. Red Spikes is more of a guy who teaches you how to more slip punches and see opening shots. Isiao Dieguez, he's more again, the catch shots and shoot back also, underneath to the body and follow up on top and follow on the head, shorten up your hooks instead of being opening up your hook, what I'm saying, instead of to get to the mark. And Bomac alone, he just also comes up with a great game plan. Wayne McCullough, who I'm with now, Wayne is a student of Eddie Futch. Eddie Futch was, if we know Eddie Futch, he was a defensive technician. So with Wayne, even though you guys didn't see it, that last fight, because it ended so short, Wayne gave me more confidence in terms of closing the gap, knowing distance, and not wasting punches, and also being able. Because again, if you guys watch me, I had issues when I fought Jermaine Ortiz and Shakur Stevenson by constantly in the peekaboo stance. With Shakur, everything was coming around and I couldn't see it. Same thing with Jermaine. When he's throwing flurries, I couldn't see it. Wayne is more of a, like I said, Eddie Futch, where you can catch it, and it's not so much of the Mayweather, shoulder roll, but it's more of the old school Philly shell where you just catch shots but you can see everything. And you know your distance and your timing, and you can easily shoot back. It's easy for me to shoot back from here than to just trying to be here, and by then it's too late. It's too late. So again, as you guys have seen, I broke down every one of those trainers that I know. And a smart fighter will not just go to a different trainer and completely forget everything he learned in the past. Like, no, I mean, even I learned a lot from Manny Robles. Manny Robles is another great trainer. You see, he's been doing it with fighters. He's been upsetting a lot of fights with his fighters. So again, I always give a lot of respect and gratitude to every trainer that I come across, because I can always learn something or pick something up where I can add it to my arsenal and to where I feel comfortable doing it. I may not be able to do everything that Bud is doing, but I can take something from Bomac and I can probably make it. I can fit into my arsenal to where. Okay, I can add that in there. I can add that in there. I can add that in there. Even with Bud, Bud is just so calm. He just so, you seen him when he fought my good friend Errol Spence. He's just so calm in there, and he's level headed. And when you're in there, when you're not so frantic and tight, you can just relax and you see everything a lot clearer. And again, when I took that mindset and I went over here to Wayne and then learned how to be more defensive but still be over there to be aggressive, it all worked out for me. And I always tell fighters, you should never act like as you know everything, because if you want to improve, you should always want to feel like you have room to grow. Even me today at my age, I always feel like I always want to learn something. I want to learn. Like Wayne, I used to tell Wayne, no, we're gonna get this. I'm not leaving the gym until we get this right. And I'm always willing to learn. When you feel like you know everything, that's when you might as well just pack it up and just whatever. Just do it. Just you don't even need a trainer, because you know it all. But again, for me, I look at it in terms of also the greats before my time. When you look at Floyd Mayweather, it was Pretty Boy Floyd when he was real aggressive and offensive, and then there's Money Mayweather. And again, he still had an offensive mind, but he was more defensive, and he placed it. He didn't waste shots. He placed his shots. Again, Bernard Hopkins, when he was younger, he was an executioner, and he really stood by his name. He was going out there to take you out. But as he got older, even by the time he got to the Trinidad fight at 36 years old, he was more technically sound. He was a boxer. He knew where he was at in the ring, and even beyond that, he still elevated his game and to where he was in fighting at a high level and winning world titles. So again, you always have room to grow, no matter as long as you have the mindset and you're willing to go in there and learn some things.
So I'm going to say you've given some absolute pearls of wisdom in that speech there, Jamel, because a lot of my kids that I train at my gym, my amateurs, they'll come onto my show and they'll be either listening now or listening later at some point in time. And the things that you've just said about learning are very important to me as a trainer. I mean, if you would just give my guys, obviously, as I said, some of my guys will be listening to the show. For the amateurs, like you've obviously excelled at the amateur status, going all the way to the Olympics, and then become a professional. Do you have an ambition to work with fighters yourself at some point in time? And if so, what advice would you be keen to kind of instill in them?
I mean, right now I'm managing fighters to help, get them in the right direction so they can live out their dreams for the most part. But at times I do go to the gyms. After my great friend Rashid Warren, he's actually training fighters. The gym out here in Cincinnati, Ohio. So I always get to see kids down there. But for me, what I always tell kids, even now at my age, I'm like, when I think of boxing, you have to have that hunger and you have to have that love. Like I get butterflies just thinking about, just willing to learn and open up and not going into a gym thinking I know everything, So I would tell, like I said, I would even tell your fighters, you gotta love it, you gotta live it, but more importantly, you gotta believe. Like you guys wouldn't know how many times people told me that I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that. They told me I'd never become a national champion. We marked that off. They said I would never get to the Olympics. Got to the Olympics. Okay, I didn't have a great performance in the Olympics, and then said, you know what, maybe that's where his run ends. He'll never be a world champion. I had two setbacks. As a professional, and I came back to become a world champion. So again, you can't listen to what people are saying, but you can't take it to heart, even if it's negative, positive, whatever. Listen to it, but try to use it as fuel and ambition. Like even now, they'll question, why are you coming back for? Yeah, you're too old for this. I'm like I just finished putting somebody out in the first round. But again, if you feel like I still need to prove myself and prove you wrong, I'm using that as fuel and motivation. I'm not taking it to heart. I'm not getting upset, because if I get upset, that means there's some truth into what you're saying. Like, no, for me, you guys see me right now. I'm not like you. Come on, Tony, you're a trainer. I'm not fat in my face. I'm not. I don't have. I stay disciplined even throughout around the clock, around the year. I stayed. There's nothing. Stay disciplined. If you wanna be successful, you have to live this life away from the cameras. Meaning that when your trainer isn't watching or the people aren't watching, you still have to live your life like a boxer and a fighter. Why would I want to go to training camp to try to take off 30 pounds, 40 pounds? That's crazy. That's too much weight. Rather to where I could just stay close to my weight. When I do go to training camp, I'm going to training camp to get better and learning, not go to training camp to where I'm trying to just lose weight. And then I lost 6 weeks just losing weight instead of perfecting my technique and getting better and getting sharper. So again, you gotta stay disciplined. You gotta believe in yourself. And more importantly, you gotta just just live. Write out your own story. It's in your hands. What you do is determined to you. You don't blame this person and that person. No, you in the end make your own decision. It's up to you to get to the gym. Go out there, do those runs when no one's watching. Go out there and make sure you get to the gym on time and so forth. Eating the right stuff. So again, you gotta want it.
Speaking of that, I've got a couple of questions, but I actually want to piggyback off of what you just said there, because I feel like that's perfect advice, obviously, and that's also the right way you should be. If you're an athlete, you've got a finite amount of time that you can maximize your potential, whether it's earnings or whatever. So you have to live the life in that moment. Now, there's a lot of criticism that comes from, there's a lot of boxers, but primarily you see a lot of it within sort of maybe the PBC stable of boxers, right? A lot of them will blow up outside of fights, and maybe they don't live the life, and they're not the most disciplined. So have you got, I guess you said you're friends with Spence, but have you got any guys from that side that you've tried to tell them, look, if you want to be serious about this, if you want to get to that top or stay there, like, you can't be doing what you're doing?
Of course, and it's not just from that stable. It's from just the boxing world, because there's a guy like that all over the place, honestly. But again, it's another thing. We boxing has too many yes men. If you're a real friend, if you really care about a certain individual and you want to do better, just tell it from the heart. You don't gotta be too critical, but again, let them know. Like I always reach out to guys like Errol Spence on the side, like, hey man, I just want to see how you was doing. You all right over there? How's the family? You know, I may not agree with what you said here, but this is what I how I would approach it and go from there. Same thing. Teofimo Lopez when he was having his issues and troubles before the Josh Taylor fight, I pulled Teofimo to the side. I said, "Hey man, listen. At the end of the day, you got something to live for and fight for. You have a son now. You know, you always gotta tell people there's always that one thing that should motivate you to go out there and be special and be great." And then we've seen how Teofimo played out his last fight against Josh Taylor. He went out there and probably put on one of his best performances since maybe the Lomachenko fight again. But I'm always trying to do whatever to encourage fighters from any platform just to be better. Because again, it's a dangerous sport. If you're not doing the right things inside the ring, if you're not taking care of yourself in there, you can get hurt. And like I said, I love him to death. But look at all the damage that Errol Spence has been through. I mean, look at this. Look at this. The stuff he's been through from the time he fought Kell Brook to today. And you said that man's been through a lot of trauma in his lifetime. But for me, if he wants to continue fighting, I would tell him, listen, take your time. Take your time. You had nothing to prove. Just take your time. I get it. You don't like taking tune-ups. But we need to, if you really want to see how much you have left on your body, you know, just ease your way back into it. There's no need for you to jump the gun and try to get back in there into a dangerous fight. So I didn't want to see the Terrence Crawford rematch anyway. You know, like a lot of us probably would agree because of his first fight played out. But
Yep.
who am I to tell you not to continue going forward? I would just like to see you take a different approach and work your way back into those big fights again. But I hope guys like him are doing well, and so many others that may go through personal things they're not doing the right things or away from the cameras.
Sure. I've got two more questions, and then if Tony doesn't have any, we'll be happy to let you go. But the first one, so obviously after the Jermaine Ortiz fight, you obviously announced the retirement, said, "Yo, I'm gonna step away. I've had a great career." But then, what was it that ultimately brought you back after that?
My good friend Joe Cordina, when he entertained when he entertained about trying to fight me, even in Wales or whatever, and wherever they wanted to do it in the UK, and commentating. When you're watching the fights up close, it's hard for you not to get that hunger and itch back. It's just simple as that. But I just needed some time to heal. I had to take care of my body more, and then once I took care of that, you know, I felt that itch again. And I was like, you know what, let's do it again. And I slowly worked my way back into it. I didn't jump straight back into the fire. That's why you guys didn't see me, you know, entertain a fight with Joe Cordina off the rip when he was mentioning it on Twitter. So I had to ease my way back into it. But now that I'm back in it, again, I'm ready to step up, and that's just how I am as a fighter. I don't need soft touches. I have a championship mindset. I know what it takes to be a champion. So I just want to get back to where I was once at. Around the time I fought guys like Carl Frampton and Shakur Stevenson.
Okay, so on your bucket list, and actually, I'm going to ask you about a couple of fights in a minute, but on your actual bucket list, so I know fight in the UK is top. That's priority. Yeah, we're going to put pressure on Eddie. I might be seeing him soon, so I'll make sure to also reiterate to him about that.
Please
But
do.
have you got any other like things that you need to tick off before you can sort of bow out and say, all right, cool, I'm done?
I have to become a two-time world champion. Whether
Okay.
it's a rematch with Lamont Roach or the winner of Cordina, Kakachi, or wherever. That's just me. That's the bucket list. That's the goal. I'm trying to follow behind the footsteps of another Long Island fighter that I admire, which is Buddy McGirt. You guys posted a picture. You guys just posted a picture earlier with
Yeah.
me and Buddy. Buddy, like I said, Buddy McGirt is probably, if not the best fighter from Long Island, from where I'm from. And I would easily say that I'm probably number two. Again, there's guys like Chris Algieri and and Joe Smith. And Joe Smith is another world champion. We're pretty much the only four world champions out of Long Island. And I always put Buddy McGirt as the number one to come out of Long Island. But again, I'm following behind the footsteps of him, and I don't look at it as an impossible task. Honestly, again, Lamont Roach has a world title. Lamont Roach has expressed that he wants to fight again. He wants a rematch. I'm the only one. I'm the only man that's beaten him. So of course, as a fighter, you want to get that get back at times. So again, if that fight presents itself, I'm all for it. If Joe Cordina continues, if he wins or Kakachi wins, and they continues to stay at a junior lightweight, and they want to fight as well, I'm all for it. But again, the goal has to be a 2-time world champion.
Okay, with regards to that, um, two fights. So obviously, Saudi. There's been the two big cards coming on Saudi. You've got Ring of Fire and you've got Knockout Chaos. Now, on both of those fights cards, you've actually got so you've got Nick Ball and Ray Vargas on one at 126, but both of those are probably big enough to move to 130. And then you've also got Cordina against Kakachi. How do you see both of those fights playing out? Who do you think wins?
I think Kakachi could be difficult. Let's be starters. He could be difficult. I know with him, injuries has plagued his career and kind of like had him out the limelight for a while. But again, Joe Cordina can be smooth and sharp when he's on his A game. So that's a good fight right there. I think either one of those two can win that fight, including I think Kakachi can win it. I think Joe Cordina could keep his title. Nick Ball, he's like a firecracker. He's like a firecracker. Dynamite. Very explosive. But again, sometimes he has holes in his defense because he gets too overly aggressive at times, which leaves him open. But when you gotta look at Ray Vargas has a fought down at featherweight in quite some time, and he hasn't been in the ring since he lost to Oshaki Foster for the WBC 130-pound title. So again, that's a fight that Nick Ball could shock a lot of people and become a world champion in his own right, and he's hungry. Tony, as you know, when you got a hungry fighter in that gym, it's hard to beat them. It's really hard to beat a hungry fight, especially when you put a world title on line. It's hard, and like you pointed out, some guys they get to that level and they kind of take their foot off the gas or they forget how they got there. So when you get that mindset, like just another fight, I've been here already, it could be a wake up call and it can end badly. So I hope Ray Vargas is prepared for what's to come against a guy like Nick Ball.
Go for it, Tony.
Yeah, just wanted to come back to a point you just made about Long Island fighters. Obviously, you mentioned Buddy McGirt, who I've had the pleasure of meeting. One of the nicest guys out there, just point blank human beings, a lovely guy. But I know Terrence Errol Spence is from Long Island, right?
Errol was born. He was born in New York, but he always has a claim in Dallas. And I was
gonna say this. He
has family out there. He has family, and that's why myself and his family connected so well throughout the area because he has family out in Brentwood, Long Island. So he definitely has ties to Long Island, but Errol does never. He always wants to claim Dallas. So again,
okay.
I will gladly take that number 2 spot as being the man in Long Island.
Salute to you, sir. Salute to you.
Okay. So I guess quickly before we let you go, so we've got Usyk Fury. Who you got?
That's another tough one because I believe we already know Fury had a tough break in terms of just the general public, the fans, the media after his last fight. So and you guys know, you guys out there, you guys know he's been very quiet. He's been very quiet, and I believe that's because he's in the gym, really grinding and preparing for what's to come because he feels like he has a lot of making up to do with the boxing public. He had the MMA world thinking that they could send anyone over to the boxing world and just be dominant because the way he played that fight out. In my opinion, he took that fight too lightly against Francis. He took it too lightly. Though he took it as an exhibition. It's another exhibition, probably another just a pay grab, and he took it too lightly. With a guy like Usyk, you can't do that, and I'm pretty sure he knows that. But again, Usyk has probably the better technique, the better footwork, but Tyson Fury is still a big man. He's still a big man, and when Tyson Fury is at his best, he can be very athletic and light on his feet even for his size, and then he has the range, he has the height. We've seen what he did with a puncher like Deontay Wilder. He leaned on him, he forced his weight on him, and then he got him out of there. So again, Usyk, I don't think he's taking Fury light. I don't think he's looking at Fury's last performance either. So again, that's a tough matchup. But I believe if Tyson Fury is Tyson Fury that we all seen throughout the years become a unified world champion, I believe he can win that fight.
Okay, Joshua and Garner, last one.
That's not going to the final bell. But I'm pulling for AJ. I like AJ, but I think that's a fight that's gonna end in a knockout. Someone's gonna go. Someone's gonna go. Either AJ's gonna get caught or AJ's gonna catch him. And that's how I look at it. But
Okay.
again, I'm rooting for AJ in that matchup. But that's not. I don't believe it's gonna see the final bell. Two big punchers. And again, AJ is not a back foot fighter like Tyson Fury can be. And so I think that's going to be a one that's going to end sending the ring toe to toe action.
Tony, you got anything else you want to say before we let Jamel get on his way?
Nope, that's it. Thank you very much, Jamel, for coming on. I really appreciate your time this evening, and we look forward to seeing your next fights. And listen, best of luck in getting to that world title and fulfilling your dream of becoming a 2-time world champion. And as I said, you know, when you come to London, which I'm sure will happen, we'll be looking out for you, sir.
Will do.
Definitely.
I will let you guys
Appreciate
know.
your time, man. I'll
No
speak
problem.
to you soon. Bless. Okay. Right, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, thank you very much for tuning in. We hope that was insightful. Hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, ultimately, let's get back to Jonas and Mayor, and we will catch you on Tuesday. So until then, peace.
Salute.